Next thing in how is about client communication. So just a few pointers. You want to make sure you're communicating really well with your clients. There's a whole other article that we could write on this. I mean, probably 10 articles that we could write on this. Things that we do that are really helpful in making sure that a project goes smoothly. Slack team channels are your friend. And we try to invite our clients into one specific channel per project and do almost all of our communicating there. We barely do any communicating by email any longer. It is just easier. It's all in one place. You can search it. You don't get lost in your inbox. You can, some of our clients even like it if you start a thread for a certain deliverable. So it's like, this is the photography thread. We're only going to talk about photography in this thread. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Another thing is, being clear and concise and proactive in your communication. A great project manager, especially a really good and proactive one who can get ahead of things and see trouble coming down the line, they're just a godsend. Another thing I talked about earlier is not spreading yourself too thin. The idea of having an engagement lead who owns the creative acumen and a project manager who owns the client relationship is a great idea. And even if that is the same person, just knowing what hat you're wearing in what conversation is important. Just kind of like split yourself in two. And then the thing that I always tell people in all projects is just think of what you're doing as helping. Think of yourself as a helper. You aren't there to just do a job. You aren't there to just make a thing. You're there to help the client accomplish something. You're there to help their audience get something. And if you flip that in your head, you become a guide. You become this, I guess, beacon of helpfulness, I guess. And you can turn that around. It becomes less of, it's a task, it's a chore, it's a job. No, actually, I'm helping them accomplish a thing. I'm helping them understand. I'm helping them get something better. Last one, actually, there's the last one is real short, but the second to last one is basically how to ask for and train clients to give feedback. This is a whole conversation. Again, giving feedback just doesn't come naturally to some folks. We try to do a couple of things that try to make it easier for us to be able to get our job done and to create great work, but also to allow the client to clearly communicate what they want. Some people don't know what they want until they see it. Some people just don't know how to tell you what they need. We try to do a couple of things. First, we ask for consolidation. So like one voice that forces the client side person to put it all together. Say they've got 10 stakeholders. Put it all together, sit it down on a table or on a screen, filter through it. It makes the client filter through noise in the requests, in the feedback. It helps them prioritize or helps us know who's important. They will know better than we do who we should be listening to and be like, Dan just needs to say something. We don't really have to listen to what he's saying. Or this person has the vision for the company. I need to prioritize what they're saying. And then also it eliminates duplication. People will say the same thing 15 times. Like, hey, I don't like that headline. I don't like that headline. I don't like that headline. That just makes it simpler for us to be able to execute on that feedback. And it also just forces clear directionality in the feedback if you have one voice. On that point that we try to emphasize that if the feedback is sounding more like, what if we, instead of this is a particular feeling I have about a thing, that we stop and talk through it instead of just guessing and having it handed over to us. And then great feedback generally is just firm and declarative, but it doesn't always have to be prescriptive. It does. I mean, a lot of feedback is, hey, I don't like this, do this. But sometimes it's, hey, I don't like this, but here's a thing that I might like. So it doesn't have to be, we don't have to be just the arms of production, but as long as they're clear in why they don't like a thing or why it isn't working or what they might like better, then we can act on that a lot easier. Last one is about flexibility and freedom within a framework. Just knowing that all of these plans don't survive first contact, which is what I was saying earlier. Years ago, I did a bunch of creative work for Coca-Cola, right? Big software company, and they're here in Atlanta. On their various projects, so like ads and video and campaign and strategic work and whatever. It was a masterclass in brand building and maintenance, to be honest with you. That is a very well run and very well conceived strategic brand. All of those products are, or at least it was back then. Their brand introduced me to the idea of freedom within a framework, which is that you put up guardrails that keep us on a path. That is that Gantt chart that is the project management, that is the creative direction, but they're not so narrow that we can't move around a little bit, or that we can't change course a little bit if necessary. Say, I guess, like if you want to follow the metaphor, take an exit if it's necessary. This is just to say, use your project and staffing plan as guardrails. And also use your brand that way too. It's just guardrails. You can move around inside it. It doesn't have to be, as long as you're going in the right direction, it's a framework, and you need that. But don't be so rigid that you miss opportunities. So like opportunities you might miss, like to put a more right person on the team. You started out with somebody, they're not working out. Maybe there's somebody that has a better skill set on your staff, or somebody that you can find that might just be a better fit, or to explore a creative direction that pushes the boundaries of that path that we're moving down. Or don't miss the opportunity to pivot and decide that we need more time for one thing like writing or design and less time on another thing down the road. So when everything in a project starts to feel like a slog, when you feel like you're just like swimming upstream at every single move you make, that is when you need to reset and consider your framework and apply some freedom. What else would make this easier right now? What could we create that would make this the very best it could be? And then assess how far you can and should go within that framework to make it happen.